What's up? What's going on? What's going on? Okay, let me just make sure that I'm not hearing double. Let's just make sure everything is going well. What's going on? It looks like you guys can't see me. Let's see. There you go. So sorry about that. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back. Let me just make sure that. Let's see. All right. All right, sounds better. Awesome. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back, Men of Prestige, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for stopping by as usual. If you're watching the rebroadcast, you're watching live. Either way, thank you for being here. Please do me a favor as you're coming in. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe button, and things like that. We're gonna keep it very short and sweet today. I don't know if you can tell my voice. I lost my voice. I've been under the weather, and but the show must continue. So I decided to come here today, and nonetheless, we're gonna have a fantastic show. I've got quite a few clips, fair use, absolutely within the fair use guidelines, to react to today. We can extract some lessons and then get started. So let's just get right into it, shall we? And these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. Awesome, awesome. So the first thing I want to talk about is this Amber Heard and Johnny Depp situation. I've been watching some of the coverage that the lead attorney has been putting on. Shout out to the lead attorney. I've been watching some of those. I don't know much details about it, but there's something that I saw today that I felt like, okay, maybe there's some lesson that I can share with you here in all of this. Obviously, well, again, if you don't know who, let me just share my screen with you really quickly. Johnny Depp, and let me just go ahead and share that with you. Let's see. All right, good. We found something. Let me share my screen with you. So basically, Johnny Depp is an actor, American actor. The ex-wife, Amber Heard, is also an actress. So they were once upon a time married, and they filed divorce, and then she came out with some article, and apparently, according to him, after the article came out, he lost a bunch of jobs, he lost so much money, and he's suing. He filed a defamation lawsuit for $100 million, something like that, right? So, and that's the gist of it right there, right? So let me just go ahead and share my screen really quickly. Share screen, and then we can talk about it. Let me just make sure that my audio works fine. Quickly share screen, and then we can talk about it. All right, just wanted to make sure the audio is good. Hopefully that's fine. So let's go here. Okay, so that's my screen. Okay, this is a New York Post article right here. Let me see if I can find this is CNN. Actually, it's a CNN thing that I'm looking for. Johnny Depp, sister. There you go. So the sister, Amber's sister, was there you go. She was a witness on the stand. So I guess that's the sister right there. So here's the article. There's a part of it that I wanted to extract out here that I felt like, we could extract a quick lesson from it. So down here, I guess the Mr. Depp's attorney, Rebecca, I don't know if you can see that. Let me blow it up a little bit. Went on the stand and asked her a question. Let's see. There you go. Rebecca Lacaros said that she sometimes acted like a marriage counselor and at times sided with Depp in argument. Lacaros, that's the attorney, questioned Enriquez, who is the sister of Amber, about why she supported her sister when she wanted to stay in the relationship with Depp. Like, essentially, like, if she was having such a, because she testified against Johnny Depp, right? That he was actually an abuser. Okay, so the article that she wrote was basically her trying to be an activist and trying. She said she wanted to be an activist. She never mentioned his name, but it was obvious that he was talking about the ex-husband, that he was an abuser, that she got beat up heavily. So the attorney is asking her if it was such a terrible experience, why did you support her to stay in there, right? And then she goes, you wanted Miss Heard to stay with Mr. Depp even after you saw him hit her, right? You know, attorneys are very slick with the way they ask questions, right? That's really, and then she answers, that's really oversimplifying something that's far from simple. All right, so I wanted to point this out. First of all, a lot of people are dragging the story like they're celebrities. You're not a celebrity, so there's always going to be some kind of cap on your part. What's going on, Sarah Hill? Good to see you, brother. Right? There's always going to be some cap when we're comparing to celebrities, but nonetheless, they are highly influential on what we do. You know, they're highly influential. That's just the fact of the matter, right? And they drive a lot of the decision of this modern day men and women. So it's important to pay attention to what's going on there as well, right? But anyway, I wanted to point this out that, you know, marriage is such a very, it's a complex thing already by itself, right? Just by itself, because again, no, forget that. Human beings were very complex being already, just like that, right? Just being human. So imagine you had another human being, especially when they haven't done the work. Most of the time, people don't do the work necessary before they go into marriage. It is what it is because they're in love, whatever, right? And then you find yourself in this kind of situation, all standards of value, character, those kind of things that go out the window because people are in love. Especially, you can imagine Hollywood type of situation, right? So I told you I'm under the weather, so I will have to mute sometimes and cough, right? So she's right in the sense that it's not that simple. If my sister wants to stay in a relationship, you know, also we're the same one that says, hey, um, people should stay out of people's marriage and stuff like that, right? Where the one who says the same thing, right? So maybe that's what she was doing. So I think that answer was accurate, you know. I am seriously under the weather. So pardon me, right? So she continues, Amber was very much in love. So was Johnny in love. Amber was very much in love. So was Johnny. This is typical, right? So we know personal people, right? All of us we know personal people that get into a marriage, right? Knowing quite well, knowing exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. They were adults, but nonetheless, they were not adult enough to know that this is serious business, right? They're in love. It's not about being an adult. They're in love, right? So she's speaking to that right there. Amber was very much in love, so was Johnny. She's telling me that she wants something. Whether or not I agreed to it or not, whether or not I was okay with what was happening, it wasn't a place. She's right about that. So it's one of the things that makes it very tricky. It's not always it's not always a simple situation where, you know, you should have just forced her. There's like people that end up in a DV situation, right? Or abusive situation. It's not always simple, especially if you're a loved one. For the most part, you just want to support, you know. For the most part, you just want to support. That's really what you want to do. That's the truth of the matter, right? If you know what you're doing, honestly, you want to support. At the most, you maybe advise them to seek counsel. At the most, you may want to advise them to, you know, go for therapy or something, right? But the last thing you want to be is be all up in there because again, you end up in this very toxic situation where you're now testifying against somebody that your sister loves. It's a difficult situation. It's not always easy. No, but now back to the actual story itself. This is a man, from what I can see so far. I don't know too much about the case. From what I can see right now, it just sounds like it's a guy who just he wants to teach women a lesson. He wants to teach women a lesson. Here's what I want to tell those of you that are watching this. Don't do that to yourself, okay? Try to prepare properly for marriage, right? Don't go into a marriage thinking, if this happened to me, I will teach them a lesson. Don't do that. There's no lesson to teach, okay? The society is heavily skewed when you get into that part of the system in favor of women, okay? They will believe them first, including the judge. The same judge you're counting on to take up this case, they will believe them. You know, it's not always true. Maybe generalizing a little bit, but it's just a fact of the matter. So instead of going in there with the attitude that, hey, if this ever happened to me, I can be a Johnny Depp and just file a lawsuit. If you lie against me, I'm in the state of Florida. Don't do that to yourself. If you're going to go into marriage with that type of mindset, it's better that you just don't go into marriage. Okay? Focus on yourself instead. Focus on yourself. All right? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go grab a cup of water because I'm coughing. Okay? Shout out to Miss She Said. All right. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. I had to go grab water. I'm under the weather, but the show must continue. All right. So, like I was saying, you don't want to go into a marriage with that type of mindset. Hey, if this happened, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. It's better that you prepare properly. There are actually formulas. There are lessons that you can learn from people that have had the experience, from professionals on how to build marriage properly, and not going in it with this guards up like I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I see a lot of people following the story, thinking they can approach marriage with this mindset. It's going to fail. You're going to shoot the marriage on the legs before you get started. So it's very, very important to not do that. Okay. So with that, that's the leading story for today, the Amber story and Johnny Depp. That's the lesson that I have from it right now. I just think there's a lot of spite. There's a lot of that case is bigger than what it looks like on the surface. It's people trying to hurt themselves, of course, as usual, right? But hopefully, none of us will end up in that kind of situation. It looks terrible on the outside looking in. But I'm following the story now. I started to follow the story right now, so you may see more information about it on here. So let's do that, right? So without any further ado, let's move on to the next segment. I got a bunch of reactions from the Lapeef Network, FreshandFit, and stuff like that. Let's have some fun doing that today, okay? In the meanwhile, I'm talking a little quiet again. I'm under the weather. I'm sorry. Again, the show just must go on. So let's go on to the next segment. And these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right, so I picked up this short clip from the lead attorney, and I wanted to play it real quick. Let me just play it. Let's go ahead and play that.
Virginia also considers emotional harm, verbal abuse. All that is also considered under the umbrella of domestic abuse.
Verbal abuse is considered domestic abuse?
Yes,
Oh
verbal
my
abuse
God.
is considered domestic abuse. And it could even be considered, in some instances, domestic violence. For instance, as you say, I'll kill you if you don't do something, or something like that, any type of threats, those actually can be considered to be.
All right, so now let me explain this to you, right? Yes, verbal abuse, emotional abuse are considered exactly whatever they said.
Virginia also considers emotional harm, verbal abuse. All that is also considered under the umbrella of domestic abuse.
Yeah, all those things are considered domestic abuse. Now, about 3, 4, 5 years ago, I would probably argue that maybe it's not, right? But the truth of the matter is that if you're considered the perpetrator or the person initiating abuse, you really don't get to decide if it's abuse or not. That's just the reality, right? I know what it should be. It shouldn't be that way. Like if you and I are having a conversation, communication, and we're supposed to be married, how can we get to the point where we're now saying it's abuse? It doesn't make any sense, right? And unfortunately, the reality is that if the other person is receiving your behavior as abuse, they're going to believe them. As little as emotional abuse, like meaning you can't even pinpoint what we're talking about, but they just say, hey, I feel emotionally abused. If they feel that way inside, as a matter of fact, they're doing you a favor by saying it out, because you may just not know what you don't know. Now I get it, it shouldn't be that way, but it's the reality. They get to decide if they feel abused or not, right? Now verbal abuse, if you're calling each other out of your own names, yes, if you just heard in Virginia, is considered domestic abuse. And there's all kind of hotlines for that. Be aware of that. Like you could get stuck in but that's not right. Like, we can just communicate. We're talking. See, you're getting animated already. And that can easily be received as an abuse. It shouldn't be. That's how you feel? Well, the reality is that your feelings are just your feelings. It's not the reality. The reality is that the way you behave can be received by another human being as abuse. And you should be at least aware of that. So I'm not sure if the lead attorney was being real by being surprised, but surprise, yes. You could be married to your wife and then you had a heated argument, and before you know it, somebody's picking you up for being abusive. Or she's no longer in your house because somebody claimed to be helping them. She said, hey, she's felt abused for a few years. Or she pulls the trigger. Remember, the 80% of divorces are initiated by women. Some of them are things like this. Maybe she's been feeling abused. Feeling abused doesn't mean you meant to abuse the person, but your behavior has been received as abuse. Is it right? Maybe not. The reality is that you found yourself in that situation probably because you were not aware. Sometimes the way we get animated because we're arguing, we're just all over the place. Your hands makes her feel, quote unquote, unsafe. She calls it abuse. Or vice versa. It could be a man to a woman too. But just be aware that you don't get to decide what somebody interprets as an abuse, right? If they feel abused, keyword feeling, the same word that we don't like, effectively they're going to believe them, especially if they're a woman. That doesn't mean you're going to be guilty and indicted on all of this. I'm just saying, be aware that your behavior may come out of good intentions. It could be received as abusive. It could be something as simple as, I want you to go to school. I want you to be better. I want you to get a second degree, a master's degree. You're actually trying to help your wife. But somewhere deep in there, she's feeling smothered. These are the realities. So yes, I wanted to play that before we move on to the next segment, okay? And these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that.
Agree to disagree. Why you keep calling us out our name, bro? That is a problem for me. Real talk. It was a problem for me. Hold on. Kay, I'm not talking to you. It was a problem for me last show, and it's a problem for me again, bro. You can't keep violating like that. That's not cool.
Bruh, do you call people out their name?
Did I call you out your name?
You call people out their name?
You specifically.
You asked me a question.
If somebody got a problem, I'm answering your question.
Do you call people
somebody got a problem with me, they address me, and I address them.
What you for?
I'm addressing you specifically. Why you calling me out my name, bro?
Do you call people out their name?
Answer the question.
Nigga, I think you're a simp for real. I'm just saying it.
Okay.
That's real talk.
So anyway, moving on.
Hold on. Let me say this.
It's a whole
We're on the first topic.
It's early, y'all. Come on now.
We're not gonna breeze past it. JR, how you want to handle this, bro? Because I'm gonna just be real. You're gonna be looking at me funny, and you're gonna be tapping in with me if I hit the button.
That's the button for what?
Come on, man. Let's stop playing games, bro.
Come on, let's just
don't
move
take
on.
it there, bro. It ain't that deep. It ain't that deep. Let's not take it.
No,
What is
I already
that?
threw this
No.
shit here. Don't even know. Let's just move on to the
You
next
can't
topic.
tell me what's that deep. You can't sit here and tell me what's that
Okay,
deep.
then we can
I'm
say for
telling
after
you
hours.
what's the issue.
We can say for
Don't
after
call me out my name no more.
This nigga's it is.
Okay, we can say that for after hours. You guys just tuning in. Welcome to Lapeef Let's Talk. Make sure you guys get them likes up. Also, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate everybody.
Ladies, let me pull.
All right. So this people, this guy's, they're a gift that keeps giving. I think I may have already talked about this, but I'm not sure. But let me just say this. It's a show. At the end of the day, it's just a show. It's not that deep, right? But I always like to make them an example because they actually showcase typical behavior, interaction with your normal friends, family members, and stuff like that. And you see that play out here all the time on this show. This is Lapeef Network. I watch them every week, and I enjoy it from an entertainment standpoint. But I find it interesting because there's always some kind of lesson that I get just from watching them, right? So you have two men going at each other. The other one now is saying, hey, don't call me my name. But if you remember the last segment, I talked about abuse. I talked about abuse. Honestly, the other person gets to decide if it's abuse. Now, the other side of it that I didn't talk about is the threshold. You may feel like, but you say that to me all the time. And the other person will say, well, I don't even care, right? Now, you have two men get caught up in their emotions and they're now talking at each other while the women stand aside and they're watching, right? Well, they're watching for many reasons. Sometimes they tell them to stay out of it because that's what creates the show. But the truth is that this is as organic as it gets. And we don't know when we're crossing that line, right? I was watching the longer stream and I noticed that Mr. Logic, this guy in this red t-shirt or burgundy t-shirt, he was very comfortable just, calling the names and all that. But the name that really stand out here for me is the simp thing, right? It's interesting, the old simp thing in the last 2 to 3 years, right? You have people calling themselves simps, and they go back and forth with it. There's a real meaning for it, I'm hoping, right? But I've been collecting meanings for simp for a few months. I don't know why. I just like, oh, this is interesting. This person used it a little bit differently. This other person used it a little bit differently. That other person, I collected 33. One day, I'm going to do a segment on all 33 meanings that I've collected. The meanings wasn't because they told me the meanings. It was just, I'm looking at the context they were using it in, right? So it's quite interesting, that now Anton is in a place where he's threatening to pull the plug. And JR was like, what plug, right? Okay, so the gist that we've heard on the streets is that they both own the channel together. Actually, I doubt that. I could be wrong, but I doubt that. But maybe that's just some rhetoric they push. Maybe there's some kind of profit sharing thing that they do. That's perfectly fine. It's a business like any other business, right? But then when your business partners start to feel uncomfortable with the idea that you're just going to pull a plug, right? And then the people, quote unquote, the employees, the people that work for you, even as independent contractor, when they start to question your authority, you may like, I'm going to pull the trouble. Well, they don't look too scared for me, from what I can see. They don't look too scared, right? But again, it's all a show, right? So I enjoy this, guys. I want to play. There's some things that I wanted to pick up there. I want to play one more time, and then before we go on to the next segment.
We can agree to disagree, but why you keep calling us out our name, bro? That is a problem.
Because that's how this man agreed to disagree. Once they disagree with you, they call you out of your name. Am I the only one that have seen that in this space on YouTube? That's precisely what they do. When they disagree with you, as a matter of fact, I'm sorry, you can call me KP right now, but I see more men do it than women. They go right in the direction of calling the person out of their names. Men do that. So I'm not sure why Anton, just today, Anton was on a live session calling another man out of his name because he's defending the legacy of Kevin Samuels. In his mind, he has a good reason to do that, right? So I'm not sure why it's too surprised. That's what they do, though. I've seen that consistently over and over.
For me, real talk. It was a problem for me. Hold on, Kay, I'm not talking to you. It was a problem for me last show, and it's a problem for me again, bro. You can't keep violating like.
So if you remember last week, I did a clip where I said they started the beef, they deleted the video because it was too toxic. But again, if they don't address this is going to keep coming up. They're going to call it a show. It's just a show. They're going to try to cap. I say it's just a show. The truth is that this thing becomes real. This thing's become real. But it's okay. Let's keep going.
That's not cool.
Bruh, do you call people out their name?
Did I call you out your name?
All the time. All the time. But guess what his pushback was? Did I call you out of your name? Well, he's right. If I didn't call you out of your name, you don't have the right to call me out of me. Well, he's right. But again, remember, we can all be right, and yet we can create the wrong impressions. This is the part I'm trying to drive home for a lot of us. We can be right, and we can create the wrong impressions. We can create the wrong feeling. We can make people feel wrong. If they feel wrong, we're going to create the fruit we create. And we're just going to resent ourselves because being right wasn't enough. It's never been enough, ever.
You call people out there.
You specifically.
Hey, you asked me a question.
If somebody got a problem, I'm answering your question. Somebody got a problem with me, they address me, and I address them.
What you for?
I'm addressing you specifically. Why you calling me out my name, bro?
Do you call people out their name?
Answer the question.
Nigga, I think you're a simp for real. I'm just saying it.
So he didn't say you're a simp. He now said, nigga, I think you're a simp for real, right? So I'm not, would you call that sugar quoting it? I'm not sure. But bottom line is that you can't threaten each other on the screen. I mean, you're barking at a camera. Come on, Anton, come on, you could do better. You're barking at a camera. You can't threaten people on a camera, right? Now, personally, I enjoy Mr. Logic. We need all the smoke, especially on this particular episode. All that smoke, because what we're going to have is just a bunch of kumbaya, potentially, memorial service. And it wasn't supposed to be. It's a show, right? But he did not let them have it like that. And I really enjoy that. I tend to disagree with Mr. Logic 98.9% of the time. So let's keep going. That's why we're having a conversation, right?
Okay.
That's real talk.
So anyway, moving on.
Hold on. Let me say this.
It's a whole
We on the first topic.
It's early, y'all. Come on now.
We're not gonna breathe fast. JR, how you want to handle it, bro? Because I'm gonna just be real. You're gonna be looking at me funny, and you're gonna be tapping in with me if I hit the button.
What button?
The button for what?
Oh, but
Come on, man. Let's stop playing games, bro.
JR is capping big time. You know exactly what he's talking about. He needs to fire Mr. Logic. He has the power, right? That's the rhetoric, right? That's the story, right? He can fire anybody he wants, right? Can he?
Oh, come on, let's just
don't
move
take
on.
it, bro. It ain't that deep. It ain't that deep. Let's not take it.
No,
I already see what
I don't think it's that
you
deep.
Let's just move on to
you
the next
can't
topic.
tell me what's that deep. You can't sit here and tell me what's that deep.
Okay, we can say
I'm
it
telling you
after
what's the issue.
We can say that.
His saying is deep. The saying is deep.
And these are sizable books. They're minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that.
All right, welcome back to the show. Let's go into some fresh and fit.
Okay, sorry, go ahead, Laquan.
Now, I was gonna say what happens is a woman is gonna treat a man based off of how he treats himself.
Yes.
So the way that a guy is, how he shows up in a situation is gonna dictate how a woman treats him, because a woman is a reflection. She's the reflection. So if she's disrespecting him, he's doing things that let her think it's okay to be disrespectful to him. You see what I'm saying? So that's usually how it goes.
Bam.
No, it's just like for me, right? Like I'm not like super giga chad. I know I'm not like super jacked. I'm not like super handsome, right? But I'm a very successful guy, and I have good game, and I'm not fucking ugly, right? But it seems to me like in America, like you have to like prove to the average girl, a bitch who works at Starbucks, like, oh, I'm awesome. Like you have to prove yourself to this girl. Like, what do you do? I work at Starbucks. Oh, great. And it's like, why don't we just come at each other as equals? But they don't want that shit. They want the fucking upper hand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the average guy, the guy who is the average guy, we
just heard it right now. They prefer Instagram over him.
And it's just it's
the majority of them.
It's sad because it's bad for both sexes.
Yeah.
Because these girls are delusional because they think, oh, I'm an average girl, but I deserve the perfect guy. But even us, I know that when I was younger, I had to work on myself to become the man that I am now, that I have a selection of women that are available to me. When I was younger, I certainly did not have the amount of women that I'm available to like be with right now. And I knew I had to look at myself in the mirror and be like, okay.
All right, so he's capping big time, like most of them do. He's capping big time. The guys that you see on this show, let me just show you who they are. So this was last night. They had this is Fresh and Fit, of course. They had Mr. Lucario, they had his partner Miles, and then they had this guy. I've been seeing his name, but I'm seeing him for the first time. I think his platform is called Modern Dating Life, something like that. And I heard a lot of he lives in Japan, women in Japan behave a certain way, and actively comparing Japan modern women lifestyle to America. All right, now one thing I know about these guys is that when it comes to facts, they get that on lock. You can't argue facts with them. When they pull the stats and the data and the facts, they get that on lock. You can't argue that with them. Now, in terms of experience of actual long-term relationships, successful long-term relationships, not just getting women or picking women and then letting them go in the morning, I think they've got that on lock too. But in terms of maintaining long-term relationship, their head is as good as dry. Their brain is as good as dry. They know nothing about that. Now, Mr. Lucario, this guy that you can't really see his face, he's so dark like myself that you can't see his face. I agree with him a lot on some of his how understanding women. Something that a lot of this young men, people like Myron and this guy that's talking, something that they don't like the idea that they have to understand women. They're like, what do you mean understand women? I'm an alpha male. I'm an high value man. I'm the prize. That sounds like a woman, right? Yeah, terrible. So they usually have that rhetoric where they're actively competing with women, and then they wonder why they attract the worst of relationship when it comes to women. Because you don't know your place as a man. If you don't know your place as a man, it's only natural that a woman will drag you 100% of the time. Like this.
Hey! Wait, hey! please.
Fuck wrong with you, nigga?
Come on. Where my glasses?
Get off of me before I drop your goofy ass again. Now beat that, bitch ass nigga. Pay for this shit. Hurry up.
No,
Pay for that shit and hurry up before I drop your ass again. Touch me, then I'm gonna drop
stop
you.
video for they
Quit
help
touching
me. You got my key.
Quit touching me, bitch.
No, come on.
This is exactly how it works in real life. It's not always physical like that, of course. Hopefully, it's not physical. If it's physical, talk to someone and remove yourself. That's terrible, right? But let's go through this video again and let's dissect word for word some of the stupid rhetorics that actually Mr. Locario, the dark skinned one, was actually trying to help. He said the right thing, but of course that wasn't good enough for this lame. Okay, not lame, but a modern man. Alpha male.
It's coming over to YouTube. Fresh and Fit, search Fresh and Fit on there. So come on over.
Right.
Okay,
So-
sorry. Go ahead, Locario.
Now, I was
Go
gonna
ahead,
say,
my
I was gonna say, what happens is a woman is gonna treat a man based off of how he treats himself.
Yeah.
A woman is gonna treat a man based off of how he treats himself. Not just women, by the way. People will mimic how you take care of yourself. People will mimic how you treat yourself, how you carry yourself. People tend to mimic exactly how you carry yourself. It's very important to note that, right? Now, some people don't like that. It's like, hey, what do you mean? We need to hold women accountable. Like, what do you mean? No. Women are adults. They should be held accountable to the same standards. Really? Are you like a feminazi or something? Are you like the godfather of the feminists or something, or feminism? You want equality? Is that what you're looking for in a romantic relationship? By the way, feminism and romantic relationships are two different things, right? But you're the one that's bringing it, or you're subscribing to it. You've been sold on the idea that you need feminism in your relationships, romantic relationships, because that's what it sounds like to me. But again, he said that, and I agree with him 100%. It's how you move. But watch not so much of pushback, but a pushback. He thinks it's going to say something bad about that. What? Just listen.
So the way that a guy is, how he shows up in a situation is going to dictate how a woman treats him, because a woman is a reflection. She's the reflection. So if
a woman is the reflection, she multiplies whatever you bring. She's reflecting you back to yourself. Some people don't like that. It's like, what do you mean? People are just bad. Really? Some people are just bad? That's how this works? Why do you want her if she's bad? Right? The reality is that she's reflecting exactly how you see yourself. And if that sounds like we're holding you accountable, then it is what it is. But it's the reality. Because again, the person that's the common denominator for every girl that treats you this way is you. I'm sorry. I know it's harsh reality, but it's you. Right?
he's disrespecting him, he's doing things that let her think it's
If she's disrespecting you, she's doing things people don't do to you what you don't allow them to do.
okay to be disrespectful to him. You see what I'm saying? So that's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
That should be mic drop right there. But of course, it's not enough. We have to hold women accountable, right? Because they're adults. Wrong. It's not relevant. It's a romantic relationship. You went there, you want to smash too, right?
No, it's just like for me, right? Like I'm not like super giga chat. I know I'm not like super jacked. I'm not like super handsome, right? But I'm a very successful guy, and I have good game, and I'm not fucking ugly, right? But it seems to me,
But take your glasses off. Well, I don't care. I'm a guy.
like in America, like you have to like prove to the average girl, a bitch who works at Starbucks, like
you have to prove. We don't have to prove. Right? The only thing we have to prove is make sure we're a man of purpose and we're on our purpose and we're moving like a man of purpose. You're projecting. As usual, projecting.
oh, I'm awesome. Like you have to prove yourself to this girl. Like, what do you do? I work at Starbucks. Oh, great. And it's
Never have to prove myself to a girl. I've never felt that way. I'm 42. I've been around for a minute. And I've been married for 15 years successfully. As in I'm happy, let's say it that way, right? So no, I don't agree. Okay, I agree with you, you're right. But that's you projecting your experience on the rest of us. Because one man who's sitting right next to you, by the way, Mr. Locario was uncomfortable throughout because the rhetoric is just not his message. Right?
It's like, why don't we just come at each other as equals? But they don't want that shit. They want the fuck.
Why would you want to come at each other as equals? We don't live in that kind of society. You're not equal. Do you not know your place as a king, as a man? Why do you want to come at yourselves with a woman as equals? This is struggle. That's why you're struggling. That's why everyone that's following your teachings are going to struggle. Even if you don't say this directly to them, they can hear your spirit. You're competing with women. Yeah, that doesn't always work out. Right?
An upper hand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the average guy, the guy.
Upper hand? A competition? What? You're matching energy? Well, I'm confused. Is this a relationship or are you confused? Which one do you want, a romantic relationship or you want looking for transactional? Because there's a place you go to any what do you call it? You could go pay for this stuff. Right? But you're looking to keep equal. This is problematic talking points that we see all over the place. That's why the modern dating is struggling. The name of this platform is Modern Dating Life. The irony, right? It's crazy.
And these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that.
All right, let's bring Uncle Kev to the forefront. Over the last few days, there's this whole video that came out with Vivica Fox, who was a little bit too harsh with Uncle Kev after he passed away, Kevin Samuels. I did another video entirely on that, but let me just add this to the screen.
If you're over 38,
that's Vivica Fox right there, right? So some people have found Kevin Samuels' video to mash it together of him responding to Vivica Fox. This shit is funny as hell. Let me just go ahead and play.
he said was that if you're over 38 and you haven't married or something like that, that you're no good and disposable. To me, it was a shock jock. And, I hope this is teaching folks a lesson about the karma that you put out, the negativity that you put out in the world, that when karma comes knocking at your door, she might not be so kind. So, the fact that he killed over real quick and was supposedly with a woman that we don't yet know the nationality.
Who gives a shit what you give, Vivica Fox? You can't keep a man. One of your biggest regrets is you never had a kid. You never turned out a plus sign. See, I got a problem with women like you, thinking that you talk as though you're someone to be appeased. Shut up, Vivica Fox. I'm about tired of seeing your twisted up mouth everywhere. Every time you come on camera, your face is twisted up. We get it. You're a smart, sassy, strong black woman. Do you have another gear? Do you have another character? You've been playing the same character for the last 30 years. We get it. 50 Cent, and Curtis Jackson responded and said, man, my ex-lover still want me. 17 years ago, we was together for 4 months, and she's still mad. Ma Badoom Doom must be better than I thought. Kudos to you, 50 Cent, for smiling through it. Have you guys looked at the way Vivica looks these days? Every time you see her, it looks like she done sucked on a bag of lemons. Now, I remember back in the 90s when Vivica was hot. Fine. But Vivica, but so many women like Vivica A. Fox fall into a broadcast where I said, women have already met their guy, and they blew it. Think about when you see Fox Soul, Vivica Fox, Claudia Johnson, and y'all feeling me, and Lisa Ray. Don't y'all see a bunch of old women and be like, y'all are 40 and 50 years old. Y'all should have been somebody's grandma by now.
Hell no, shit crazy.
Wow. Crazy, right? So, let's talk about this. We're going to talk a little bit about the high value thing. There are 2 videos. I did a review of Kevin Samuels when the Average at Best thing came out. My wife and I actually did it. Excuse me. we did that review, and a couple of things I want to show you here today. There's an argument on Lapeef Network. I'm going to show you this argument in a little bit, but I wanted to prepare you for some of this. This is the first thing right here, okay? Excuse me, I'm under the weather. I said that earlier, so pardon me. Let me drink some water. Sorry about that. All right, so if you look at what's on the screen, right? The video is called "What is a High Value Man?" High Value Man Defined. You can find it on Kevin Sam. I also link it in the bottom if you want to watch it. So you don't have to argue about this again. But let's go through it together. I'm going to share them with you. The first criteria is this. That's the first criteria right there. He makes $10,000 or more per month. And of course, if you listen to the video, it talks about adjusting it for different locations and stuff like that, right? Depending on the standard of living. Let me go to the second one. All right, here goes the second one. He has demonstrated performance over a minimum of 5 years' time. This is from the mouth of Kevin Samuel himself. Again, there's a whole video. I will link it in the description. I want you to read that. I want you to process it. Okay. He has demonstrated performance over a minimum of 5 years' time. Okay. I think that's fair. A lot of people are saying he didn't qualify. It doesn't matter. I think that's fair. Okay. All right, that's the third one right there. He has group acceptance by other high value men. So other people that qualify for the same thing, he also has group acceptance. Like his friends, because you're a product of the people that you're a product of your environment, right? So that makes sense too, right? All right. The networking is everything when it comes to success. So that makes sense, right? So let's again go ahead and let me pull the fourth one for you. These are the criteria that makes up a high value man. Again, he made it up, but it's making sense to me so far. I can appreciate this. Pulling up the fourth one right now. All right. All right. So the fourth one is this. He belongs to a network of other high value men. So you can use this interchangeably, right? It's kind of like the same thing, right? Kind of like the same thing, right? All right, so let's go ahead and grab number 5. We're talking about high value men. We're talking about Kevin Samuel's criteria to be a high value man, right? Okay. So this created a big argument. We're gonna get into that in a second here, and you know they could have kept it simple and just pulled it out, right? He has visibility in society, meaning you can't just be this person that nobody knows, right? What's going on, my brother? Salute to you, brother. Mr. He said. So let me pull the 6th one. Again, all of this is making sense to me so far. I don't have to know a person personally. I can look at, I have the ability, like unlike many people in this space, to look at things and just call them what it is without worrying about the messenger. The messenger does matter. Let's not cap about that too, right? It does matter. But I can decide to make it not matter, right? If I want to have a constructive conversation, I can decide to make it not matter, right? So the sixth criterion here is he has utility, which means he is useful to others in the society. Right there. Okay, so if we do a quick recap, okay, we have this is Kevin Samuels. He makes criteria for being a high value man. He makes $10,000 or more per month. He's done so for a minimum of 5 years, right? He has group acceptance by other men, which you can, I can call it the same thing as this. Number 4, he belongs to a network of other high value men. He has visibility in the society. He has utility, which means he's useful to others in the society. The other thing that I will add on to this is that, some people want to claim, like Mr. Logic, he got in this serious argument with the rest of the panel on Lapeef, like he's not really high value man. Like Kevin Samuel is not. He's claiming that he's not, he's preaching what he's not. But I disagree, and I'll tell you why in a second, okay? Let me play this video one more time for you.
He said was that if you're over 38 and you haven't married or something like that, that you're no good and disposable. To me, it was a shock jock. And, I hope this is teaching folks a lesson about the karma that you put out, the negativity that you put out in the world, that when karma comes knocking at your door, she might not be so kind. So, the fact that he killed over real quick and was supposedly with a woman that we don't yet know the nationality.
Who gives a shit what you give, Vivica Fox? You can't keep a man. One of your biggest regrets is you never had a kid. You never turned out a plus sign. See, I got a problem with women like you, thinking that you talk as though you're someone to be appeased. Shut up, Vivica Fox. I'm about tired of seeing your twisted up mouth everywhere. Every time you come on camera, your face is twisted up. We get it. You're a smart, sassy, strong black woman. Do you have another gear? Do you have another character? You've been playing the same character for the last 30 years. We get it. 50 Cent, and Curtis Jackson responded and said, man, my ex-lover still want me. 17 years ago, we was together for 4 months, and she's still mad. My Badoom Doom must be better than I thought. Kudos to you, 50 Cent, for smiling through it. Have you guys looked at the way Vivica looks these days? Every time you see her, it looks like she done sucked on a bag of lemons. Now, I remember back in the 90s when Vivica was hot. Fine. But Vivica, but so many women like Vivica A. Fox fall into a broadcast where I said, women have already met their guy, and they blew it. Think about when you see Fox Soul, Vivica Fox, Claudia Johnson, and y'all feeling me, and Lisa Ray. Don't y'all see a bunch of old women and be like, y'all are 40 and 50 years old. Y'all should have been somebody's grandma by now.
Hell no, shit crazy.
All right, so there's another video. So the first video, again, I'll link them in the description below. This is 2 videos by Kevin Samuels on high value men. That make sense to me so far. I don't have to care or know the messenger personally before this could make sense, or I can find it useful in society, right? So the first video was this video right here. Let me show you again. The first video, the title of the first video was what is a high value man? High value man defined, right? He has 6 characteristics of a high value man. Let me show you. All right, this is important. If you want to argue with this, you argue with it, right? As opposed to argue with the messenger just because the messenger doesn't. Again, everyone we're getting to know each other now, but it's YouTube. At the end of the day, we don't really know each other until we know each other, right? So this was the first video. This video right here has about 500,000 views, right? And this other video, which is facts about being a high value, has about 66,000 views, right? Now, an average Kevin Samuel video, at least up to recent time before he passed away, has about 200 to 300,000 views, right? So one of the videos underperformed when it comes to average. His highest videos has about 2 million views, right? So I'm kind of shocked about that, because I'm not shocked. But the point is that people are watching Kevin Samuel for entertainment reasons more so than they actually care about society. Let's not cap, okay? But I think these are extremely valuable stuff we can share with each other. The second video, which is facts about being a high value man, is basically an acronym called the F.A.C.T that he created. And the first one is failure. It's a product of a series of failures. That's realistic. That's even better realistic, because a lot of people, they start making six figures because they came out of college, they think they're high value. This right here would disqualify you. Okay, if you haven't had the experience of failures, which is what builds character, it builds the muscle of character, right? You can't claim that. It's the same thing in marriage. Like, you haven't gone through 2 years in marriage and you're talking, advising people on marriage, right? It's crazy, but we have that on the streets, right? The second thing, the A in the fact is action. He takes action, right? It's not sitting in one corner and just trying to dictate to people to take action. He's an action taker. He's a decision maker, right? Change. He embraces change as a constant of life. One thing that we know in this space with a lot of men is that men don't like truth coming out of the mouth of Kevin Samuels himself, right? They claim that they're speaking the truth, but yet they are pushing actively against the truth, which is the reality, what you have in front of you, right? The reality is that everything has changed. It will continue to change. The only constant in life is change. And if you're not able to embrace or navigate that, that's a testament to your abilities as a man. I'm sorry, it's just a reality. T, in fact, is time. He understands the value of time in everything, right? These are entrepreneurship facts. So again, high value men, these are things that we can all agree together that is making sense thus far, right? So in terms of the video with Vivica Fox, I already spoke to that. I think we're overreacting. People react how they want to react. They react according to how they feel. How you make them feel has nothing to do with right and wrong. We can cap all day long about that. Society that we live in, people drag each other on the internet all the time. I mean, Kevin Samuel had a mouth on him. Let's not cap about that. I mean, you just saw it. This was obviously this video was done way before he passed away, right? So is it making sense why Vivica Fox may feel some type of way? Does she have the right? No, it's not about rights. I'm just saying people feel what they feel and they respond, especially if they're strangers to this person. I mean, there's only so much you can say to that. As opposed to overreacting to this, if you really care about Kevin Samuels, like I said last week, you should be honoring him. You should be doing memorial services. You should be spelling out the value that he brought into this space, just like I just did. You should focus more on that, as opposed to trying to claim that you're defending him. You can't defend him. You're capping. Okay? I want you to ask yourself, why is it that I resonated so much with what he was saying against, quote unquote, against women? Why did I like it? Was it because it was bringing value? Did I even pay enough attention? Why did the second video have 6,000? How come no one is watching that video? They rather watch the one where he was roasting women, right? Again, let's stop the cap altogether. Let's see if we can get some more lessons out of this whole situation, right?
And these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that.
A logic address Courtney, and then we're gonna move on. Okay. So now it's fair. You're right. I'm assuming, and I'm assuming based off of what I see, right?
Okay.
Now, is it fair to say that you're also assuming?
No.
What the fuck? So you saw this man W-2s?
I'm aware he was a high value man and he was making 6 figures 3 years ago.
Okay. Wait. Hold on. We're going to Caleb.
Fade to black. Fade to black. Oh Lord. Let me give you some backstory. So again, they were arguing about how much Kevin Samuels made. Was he a real high value man? Mr. Logic, the guy in the burgundy, with the beard and the burgundy t-shirt, was like, nah, he's not making it. He wasn't a high value man himself, right? And of course, Courtney loves Kevin Samuels. Everybody knows that by now, right? She's like, no, he was a high value man as of 3 years ago. Now, there are a couple of things I want to extract out of there before I play this video again, right? It's like arguing about politics and religion. You're never going to win that argument, okay? To me, I'm never going to argue with Courtney about the validity of Kevin Samuels. Unless I just want to troll for no reason, right? Unless I'm just trying to troll, right? But the problem here is that this guy is actively trying to convince them that he wasn't really a high value man. Of course, they're not going to agree with that, right? Then also he's made up his mind what he thinks about Kevin Samuels. He's not going to agree too. He thinks it's pragmatic. It's not that pragmatic. He just couldn't stand the rhetoric. The truth is that Mr. Logic is the kind of guy that won't really bow to authority like that. You have to earn that authority, like literally earn it. You're not just going to, because you call yourself something, earn some kind of respect from him. He's not that type of guy. He's a guy who is opinionated. He has his opinions about stuff. He's a smart guy. Quote unquote, everything is facts, even if it's cap, right? And he's looking at literally what Kevin Samuels sells. That's why I did this earlier, so we can talk about it, right? He has this criteria. You have to make $10,000 a month, right? Let me see if I can put yeah, let's put his face on there so at least we know we're talking about him. Continue to carry on the conversation that he started, right? All right. So he created this. He makes $10,000 or more per month, right? But he also added this onto it. So Courtney was saying 3 years. He actually said 5 years, right? So Logic was saying, if he hasn't been online for 5 years, how can he be a high value man if he hasn't? And Courtney's saying, you don't know this man's life, right? That's fact. That's the fact right there, right? Now I can guess. I'm also an entrepreneur myself. I know that there's a lot of struggle before it looks good on the outside. The one thing I wanted to add onto high value men is that high value men tend to be high value before it shows and reflects in the bank account. It's a mindset that shifts first. Obviously, people work before it shows in the bank account, right? So bank account just don't fall out of the sky. High value men just don't fall. They don't just fall out of the skies, right? You've worked on yourself. You start to do the work. That work that I'm talking about can take 3 years, can take 5 years, can take a lot of ups and downs. Lose money, build money, right? And somebody that doesn't know that story will say you're not a high value man. I disagree. High value starts from the inside first, right? Mindset before it reflects in the bank account. Now, does that make it open to anyone to be able to claim to have value? Yes, but you have to be okay with that. If you're not okay with that, that's personal insecurities. You should work on yourself, because you have to make it okay for one to want to dream big. That's real life. The people that you know that have accomplished in life, they dreamt big once upon a time before anyone could respect them. Of course, we all get to appreciate them once it looks good on the surface, like we did with Kevin Samuels, became big, right? But what about all the work he did before that? That makes him not high value man. Again, Mr. Logic is thinking about everything in such a pragmatic, statistical, factual, and that's where you lose it. So now when you're talking to someone that's passionate about the impact that this man had on her life, you're losing them. Now, obviously, just having a conversation, but in real life, this is how you build resentment. You don't know when to stop and let people have their faith and let them believe what they want to believe, as long as they're not hurting themselves and other people. You don't know where to stop because you start to project your own insecurity on them. Yeah.
Hold on, let Logic address Courtney, and then we're gonna move on. Okay.
So now it's fair. You're right. I'm assuming, and I'm assuming based off of what I see, right?
Okay.
Now,
but you actually don't see. You don't know his pocket. You're pocket watching, and you don't know nothing about his finances. And I'm not defending. I'm not a fan of Kevin Samuels. If you haven't noticed, I'm right in the middle. Like I have no. How do you say it? I have no dog in this fight. How do you say that, right? You get the gist, right? But I'm looking at everything objectively. You don't know these people. You barely know the people you're on the panel with.
Is it fair to say that you're also assuming?
No.
Now that part is funny. I expected her to say no. Okay, I think she's assuming too. I don't think she knows Kevin personally. I think she's assuming too, but I expected her to say no. I'm not assuming. Again, it's like arguing with people if there's God on religion, or arguing with people on politics. They believe what they believe, and we have people that call themselves logical, actively trying to use data to make people not believe in what they already made up their mind on. We do this in relationships all the time.
What the fuck? So you saw?
Why is he so surprised?
Oh, you saw this man W-2s?
First of all, business owners don't do W-2s. We do 1099s. Okay, there could be some exceptions, but you get the gist.
I'm aware he was a high value man and he was making six figures 3 years ago.
Courtney, come on. Oh.
Okay. Wait. Hold on. We're going to Caleb.
And these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that,
Will never come back. For chivalry to come back, women have to start to concede on some of their rights and or their privileges. And the reality is that most women are never going to give up their rights and or privileges because women get the benefit of being treated as equal while simultaneously enjoying the benefits of being a lady. What do I mean by this? Well, if you go out with a date on a man, even if you're a high power attorney, you make $200,000 per year, you're still going to expect the man to pay for the date. You're still going to expect the man to protect you if something crazy happens. You're going to still expect the man to be a man. Women pick and choose when they can be a lady, but men are always expected to be masculine. So what I'm saying is this: why are you going to quit while you're ahead? No, you're going to just let me continue to get the benefits of being a lady while simultaneously being equal. And here's the problem: chivalry cannot coexist with equality, which is why it's dead. Right. Women killed it. Feminism killed it.
Yep. You know, in Japan, it's the cultural
Thank you so much. Yeah, I was talking for a while. This happens. Thank you, Kimberly. I was on mute. Thank you. But I'll repeat myself. You need to hear what I said. Okay, I'll repeat myself. So basically, chivalry, right? This guy talked about chivalry and feminism killed chivalry. I disagree, right? It depends on who we're. Again, we have gross levels of generalization going on in this conversation. I get it. It's more entertaining. It gets more views, especially if the generalization speaks more to people's pain, right? So chivalry, the way I was raised, I'm Nigerian by heritage. My grandfather on my father's side has 6 wives, 15 children. On my mother's side has, 3 wives, even though he was a devout Christian elder in the church, right? And, I'm literally like 2nd generation monogamist, right? So a lot of people like me, Nigerians, they cap about that. They think they are westernized. I am westernized quite a lot. Like my wife and I, we speak 85% English, so my children don't even speak any of our native language. We just put them through classes now so they can learn some Yoruba, so the reality is that it's not as simple as some of this. It's not as simple as the intellectual diarrhea make it sounds like. Okay, that's basically what we have here: intellectual diarrhea. People read textbook and they just start pouring nonsense on the internet. Feminism killed chivalry. That's just another way of pointing fingers. This is just another way of not holding ourselves accountable, right? First of all, is there any value in chivalry? If there's no value in chivalry, yes, it will be discarded. It's just a reality of life. There's so many cultural practices, traditional practices that we've discarded over time. It is what it is. It's human beings. We evolve over time. We move. And if you, as a man, all you can do is point fingers in that equation, you're going to hurt yourself because, again, you're not addressing the real issue, right? I get it. The context is that women want chivalry. Why should they want chivalry? After all, they want equality. Again, you're competing with women. Again, you think you're in a competition, right? You're not in a competition when you're in a romantic relationship. You're in a competition in a romantic relationship. You will shoot that romantic relationship on the legs before it starts to walk. Okay? That's the issues that we're having in a lot of this conversation. We're having people capping about the fact that they do fall in love, they do simp, they do act out of place when they're in love with a girl, as in like they're not thinking straight, and then they get mad when nothing is guaranteed in life, gentlemen. They get mad, they get angry when it's not reciprocated the way they picture it in their head, right? Oh, she should match the energy. I match energy. Now you have a bunch of women say, I'm going to expect you to match energy too. Effectively being in their masculine energy. Now they're thinking. Now, I was on a conversation yesterday where one of the ladies was like, listen, if you call me at 4 hours later, I will add another 4 hours to that to make it 8 hours before I call you back. They're playing games with themselves because we're teaching them that it's a game. It's taken out of context. I do think it's a game, but from a standpoint of there are skill sets involved, right? But now you're playing games with people's heart, right? And then you expect something good to come out of that? No. So let's dissect this really good together.
Here's the reason why chivalry will never come back. For chivalry to come back, women have to start to concede on some of their rights and or their privileges. And
women have to concede on their rights and their privileges. So if you go and talk to women and say they have to concede on rights and privileges, that means you're thinking of romantic relationships in the form of rights and privileges. And that's exactly why you're not successful. That's why the dating scene is in shambles. They're thinking of it in the form of rights and privileges. This whole life is a privilege. That's the bottom line. Every man should know this. This whole life that we're living right now, it's a privilege. You're one out of, I don't know, a couple of 100 million spams that made it here. It's your responsibility to make the most out of it. It's a privilege. If a woman comes into your life, it's a privilege. Not because she's the price, quote unquote, because I know that triggers you. I'm calling her the price. I'm caping now, right? No. It's because, forget her for a second. It's because you as a man, you're lucky to be here. And you have a purpose and a mission. And that purpose and the mission is to add value into other people's lives. And if you're not able to do that, then shut up. If you're not able to do that and manage your expectations of other human beings, just shut up. Just go back to your mom's basement because you're complaining. That's what you're doing. Let's hear
The reality is that most women are never going to.
See, he says the reality. That's not the reality. The reality is that you get what you get. But I don't know what he's going to say yet. I got triggered. Let's rewind a little bit, right?
And the reality is that most women are never going to give up their rights and or privileges because women get the benefit of being treated as equal while simultaneously enjoying the benefits of being a lady. What do I mean by this? Well, if you...
These are just the reality. He spelled out the reality, but he's trying to paint a different picture as reality. The reality is that you're still talking about a romantic relationship and you're acting like it's a transactional relationship. It's not. There's going to be times that she's doing more, or at least she feels she's doing more, even if she's wrong. And you too, vice versa. That's just the reality because it's feelings. And they're not, you're right, they're not accurate when you compare it to reality, but they become reality because our feelings drive how we move. Our emotions drive exactly how we move in life. Even if, quote unquote, they're not accurate. You're right. But our perceptions become reality. How we feel becomes reality, or we use it to create our reality. That's the reality. And for as long as you continue to cap on that, you will continue to complain about this.
You go out with a date on a man, even if you're a high power attorney, you make $200,000 per year, you're still going to expect the man to pay for the date. You're still going to expect the man to protect you if something crazy happens. You're going to still expect the man to be a man. Women pick and choose when.
So again, remember I said these guys, they know the facts, they know the stats, the data, they know all that, right? There's application where they struggle. What about socialization? What about the fact that the man has been socialized to want to lead? He feels much more significant when he pays, when he's able to pay or take care, provide and protect. He feels, as a matter of fact, it's a selfish feeling. What about that part? Oh, it's a whataboutism, right? I get. But she expects you to do that because she's been socialized to do that. Again, when you start to look at women as they come at you to come at trying to hurt you, you're going to get everything wrong. If anyone, not just women, if anyone is coming at you just to try to come and hurt you, you should not be engaging them. You should also be protecting yourself. You should scream, and just protect yourself. That's what you should be doing, not complaining. But I get it. It's a show, right?
It can be a lady, but men are always expected to be masculine. So what I'm saying is this. Why are you going to quit while you're ahead? No, you're going to just...
Men are not expected to be masculine. It's socialization. It's a society we live in. It's just a reality. Okay? It's just a reality. In the context of this conversation, of course you're expected to be the masculine frame of any situation, right? You are. But the woman is expecting you to do that, but you're saying it like they're doing something wrong. But I get it. You're trying to paint a picture that they need to adjust and become more masculine. When you engage women and you keep saying this to them, they become masculine because now they're actively trying to think on how to beat you at your own game. And that's the part that no one is talking about yet.
Let me continue to get the benefits of being a lady while simultaneously being equal. And here's the problem.
Let me do this. Let me do that. Like you're capping like you're that intentional. You're not that intentional. You're putting yourself on a pedestal. Both of you the man and the woman. You're not that intentional. You're just another human being like the rest of us, and you're moved by emotions. We can see that with the vein in your head when you're talking.
Chivalry cannot coexist with equality, which is why it's dead. Women killed it.
Equality, when it comes to feminism, has nothing to do with relationships and romantic relationships. It has everything to do with human rights, right? Everything. Now, there may be some deeper agendas. That's beyond the scope of this conversation. There may be deeper agendas behind why they're pushing feminism. But women need to understand that bringing feminism into your family, into your home, is not going to help you because we're not equal. We're supposed to complement each other. That's why it's failing. But now we have men subscribing to it indirectly or directly, and they think they're intellectual, they're intelligent. But for the most part, they sound stupid.
Feminism killed it.
Yep. You know, in Japan, it's the cultural...
Yeah. It's the reality.
And these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that.
Let me say a special shout out to all the people that hit the like button. I have 4 people watching me live. I appreciate you all. And I got those 8 likes for those that dropped in. Thank you so much. You're helping us move the mission forward. Don't forget to share with your friends. I will continue to do this, even if it's only one person. Okay? So thank you. I appreciate you. All right. So let's get into more.
But if we're looking at it generally, value, I feel like it's outside of self. So how does you like being honest and have good character value to someone else? I feel like in being a high value man means that you have some type of human capital.
How is having principles and character of value to someone else?
What? How is it as a stranger on the street? How is that valuable to me? You know what I'm saying? So as a man,
the same way somebody
value, that means you have some type of human capital.
The same way that someone that you don't know
that could be valuable to somebody.
The same way that someone that you don't know, their money isn't valuable to you either. But the thing is, if someone is a good person, and if someone, has a certain type of character, and
what value does that bring to my life? Because they're a good person and they have good character.
What? Really?
As a stranger on the street, that just means
but Kayla,
bother me, and we're gonna go about our lives civil. That's all that means.
But Kayla, it's the same thing, because a stranger on the street with money brings no value to your life either. You don't know them.
Could.
And so could the good person.
But you know
With
what?
what?
You know the thing that y'all
With
missing?
their character. You don't care about
Values are
I care about
subjective.
that on a personal level when it comes to my relationships. But I'm thinking if I'm looking at two just strangers.
All right. Oh God. All right. So let's look at this really quickly. All right. So let's look at this really. First of all, let's. Again, I wasn't a big fan. Of how he talked at women, but I can appreciate the value he brought. I'm one of the few people that actually shed light on the value he brought into the space. Everyone else is busy defending a complete stranger to themselves, or they're busy not paying attention to the actual lesson. A messenger sometimes does not always bring everything the way you like it to be packaged. As a matter of fact, we need to shake things up sometimes in order to get the best out of ourselves. Okay, so but again, it's a big old conversation. Let me go ahead and show his face so we can give him his proper credit. Okay, these are the meanings right here. Let me just do a quick reiteration before we move forward. He did a whole video called I linked it in the description. It's called "What is a High Value Man? High Value Man Defined," and he did give the 6 criteria. First one is he makes $10,000 or more a month, adjusted for where they live in, right? Standard of living. And then second thing, he has demonstrated performance over a minimum of 5 years time. That makes sense, right? And then second thing, he has group acceptance by other high value men. He belongs to a network of other high value. The reason why there's a need for criteria is because you don't decide that you're high value just because you're a good person. That's not how this shit works. Okay, the way it works is that there's a marketplace. There is a marketplace. You are actively competing indirectly, directly, intentionally or unintentionally. Either you realize it or not. There's limited resources, and how resourceful you are will determine if you can turn that to unlimited resource, or it will look like unlimited resource where other people will admire you and want to be a part of what you're up to, right? But the bottom line is that other people, their perception is what determines value. In this context, we're not talking about, oh, my value as a Christian, or my value because of the way I was raised. No, that's not what we're talking about. Even that, when you go to the bottom of it, at the end of the day, it's about how society sees you and how useful they find you. Number 5 is he has visibility in society. And last but not least, he has utility. He's useful to the society. The society determines what we call high value. What kind of world are we living in? Ghana? Here we come. America is a wash. Don't be too. If you're going to the village in Ghana, yeah, sure. If you stay in Accra, it's just as westernized, or Lagos in Nigeria, okay? Westernization is getting everywhere. Why? Because the marketplace values it. So if we're going to do anything about it, we have to acknowledge that first. It's just the reality. They figure out something that our people want that we're pushing against, and the conversation is a lot more than just, But you get the gist. But yeah, I know. So, but I'm, like I said, I'm westernized. The way I build my family is westernized in so many ways. But we try to stay away from the woke stuff, right? Because the woke stuff can destroy your family, just like what Will Smith is dealing with, right? So again, in addition to that, let me do a quick one here. He had a second video called "The Facts About Being High Value Men." Then he had this acronym, failure. That means you've experienced failure multiple times. You're a product of failure, right? That's the reality. Action. He takes action, right? Change. He embraces change as a consistent. So now let me go back to this video and let's dissect it properly, because I'm not sure what Kay is talking about. I'm confused. Because Kayla is absolutely correct here. The market. You cannot talk about value in this context without talking about the marketplace or some kind of market. A person that's going to actually enjoy the value that we're talking about. Not you. You don't enjoy your own value. One of the problems with this space when it comes to relationship talk is that people talk about value with no respect to the person that they're trying to get with. Like, what is the person that you're trying to get with? What do they want? The man does it, the woman does it. Okay? On both ends. Yeah, everybody does the same nonsense. What I want, my preference. Okay, we get that. It's okay for you to have a preference list. The person you want, what is it that they want? It's on both sides. And then when we try to talk to you, you're like, oh, Ola, you don't understand this game. You've been out of the game. In the same breath, you're going to complain that it's not working out for you. You're going to keep doing the same thing and expect a different result, right? Let's go back to this video.
Like whatever. But if we're looking at it generally, value, I feel like it's outside of self. So
that's absolutely correct. We know what you value. Other people will bring that to your wall. That's what creates relationships. Okay, we get that. We understand what you value. But if you understand influence and power, like what we're talking about, the westernization, they're feeding our people what they want. So now we're complaining and bitching about it. But they want it. Westernization, whatever it is that they think they want right now. The bottom line is that at least in the short term, people value what westernization brings. Stability, capitalism, money, being able to buy a car or mortgage, like all this materialistic stuff. People value those things. That's the reality. Even if it's going to kill them. Right? Yeah, absolutely. The seller only sets a price. The buyer determines the value. Yeah, those are two different things. The value and the money are two different things. That's why we have what we call the purchasing power, right? Let's keep going.
How does you like being honest and have good character value to someone else? I feel like in being a high value man means that you have some type of human capital.
How is having principles and character of value to someone else?
Not in the short term. We're talking about a marketplace. Nobody cares about what you can bring to them 10 years from now in reality. They don't care. They care about how they feel when you're in their presence. Feelings first. They care about how you make them feel when you're in the presence. That's why people were roasting Kevin Samuels. That's why a lot of people were roasting, because whatever he was trying to say didn't make a lot of people feel good. Even if he was saying the right thing. Unfortunately, feeling right is everything, controls everything. Right? Now you have to decide if the value you're looking to put out or to receive is for short term or long term. You get to decide that, and you're responsible for that. So you don't get to say value and character. That's like a bunch of Sims saying, I'm a good person, so she shouldn't have left me. That's not how that works. That's not how it works. I'm sorry. She could leave you for reasons beyond you. Maybe you know, it's deeper than just your own understanding or your own righteousness. It's dirty. Your own righteousness is just disgusting in the eyes of God. And if you read your Bible to that point, you will see that, right? It goes back to how people feel. And if you're going to have any level of power or influence on your surrounding, your circle, you're gonna need to understand that and stop putting yourself on a pedestal as a good person, because that's not how this shit works. I'm sorry. It's part of it. You need to be a good person, but it's the bare minimum. There's more to it.
How is it as a stranger on the street? How is that valuable to me? You know what I'm saying? So as a man,
the same way somebody
value, that means you have some type of human capital.
The same way that someone that you don't know
that could be valuable to somebody.
The same way that someone that you don't know, their money isn't valuable to you.
Yes, it is, and I'll show you why it's valuable. Right? Let me show you, Kay, or whoever is the K that's listening to this. These are the 6 basic human needs. Love, the same thing as connection. Men should not use love in their vocabulary. Bullshit. You want connection. It's the same shit, okay? Everyone needs companionship. Need. It's a need. Emotional need. That's essentially why a lot of people are angry in this space, by the way. Okay? The other thing is variety. You know, variety. We don't like to get bored, right? Significance, right? Certainty, or you can call that security. Sometimes it feels like security. Just the idea that this person may be able to protect you. They are driving a Lamborghini. I know it's dumb and it's materialistic, but it's the reality, right? Make you feel like, hey, you're secured, at least financially. So yes, you're benefiting instantly because feelings is everything, right? Growth and contribution. I don't think Kay is a very smart girl. I don't think she's capping intentionally. But again, these are the conversations we need to be having.
Either. But the thing is, if someone is a good person, and if someone, you know, has a certain type of character, and they're
what value does that bring to my life? Because they're a good person and they have good character.
What? Really?
As a stranger on the street, that just means
but Kayla,
bother me, and we're gonna go about our life civil. That's all that means.
But Kayla, it's the same thing, because a stranger on the street with money brings no value to your life either. You don't.
I am muted. Yeah, I was muted. Thank you for that, sir. Right? I need to be watching the screen. I get passionate about this topic. Right? So again, people care about their feelings first, before reality, before whatever you want to call reality. Physical. Feelings is reality, by the way. Our feelings are the reality, right? They do care, they only care about what they feel. That's the. So if it feels like, hey, I'm going to be financially secured because this person is riding Lamborghini, that's the society we live in. It's sad because it's materialistic, but it's just the reality. That's what people care about. This is why simps or Mr. Nice Guys tend to be dangerous, because they are manipulative. They think because they are Mr. Good, Mr. Nice Guy, that they deserve the best that life has to offer. That's not how this shit works. Life is driven by influence and power. And power is taken. It's not going to be given to you just because you're nice and Mr. Good Guy. She's a lady. She can afford to say what she's saying. You as a gentleman, you can't afford to say that because you're a Mr. Nice Guy. You're a good guy. You deserve. No, that's not how this works. You are going to be resented precisely because people can smell it, that you're only doing good because you think you deserve better. As opposed to value. That's why this high value thing is a big topic. As opposed to value in the eyes of the beholder. On the other side, what does value look like?
But they could.
And so could the good person.
But you know
With
what? You
what?
know the thing that y'all
With
missing?
their character. You don't care about you.
Values
Yeah,
are
I care about
subjective.
that on a
They
personal
are.
level when it comes to my relationships. But I'm thinking, if I'm looking at two just strangers.
These are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that.
All right.
Okay, a man that can't attract women effectively is a loser because of his own inadequacies to a problem. The women are just an end product of his deficiencies. Women, however, refuse to look at the fact that they're single and don't point the finger back at themselves and say, you know what, maybe I have a problem retaining a guy long term. Maybe I have something wrong with me. No, what do they say? Men are toxic, they're assholes, I'm a queen, I need to be loved regardless of how I behave. It is what it is, you take me as I come. What if I was a fucking fat loser, live alone with my mom, smoking pot every day? I'm a fucking king. I deserve a bad bitch. You guys look at me like I'm fucking crazy.
But did I say any of that?
No. But that's what I'm trying to say is that your metric of success is not being a boss bitch and being a CEO. Your metric of success is, can you get a boss nigga to hold you down? That's your metric of success.
Yes.
Whether women want to accept it or not, there's a reason why a woman chases a man last name. There's a reason why women want to get married. There's a reason why you want to walk down an aisle in a white dress with your father waiting for you with a man waiting you at the end of the line and your father escorting you. Women want security. You cannot provide that security by yourself. You can do it artificially with our modern day techniques with, school and everything else like that. But the reality is women want a man and a family.
Every girl thinks about her one day, I'm gonna get married.
Don't say every girl.
Okay, not every girl, but a large majority.
All right. Let's talk about this. Give me 1 second. All right, so he's correct. All the facts stated is correct. All the in-betweens are wrong. All the in-betweens, all the nuances, which is the part that's actually going to build a person's life, are wrong. Okay? In terms of facts, everything is said can be Googled. If you Google them, you can find them somewhere on the stats, right? Absolutely, you can find them. He's not wrong, right? Everyone can agree to that. But when you have a certain level of experience, you start to say, I'm not sure, it depends. Then you start to use languages like it depends. And then people will start saying, you're on the fence, make up your damn mind. Right? Because in life, it actually does depend. There's so many forces against us. Principalities, powers, for and against us. There's so many of them. And because there's so many of them, a lot of the work you're going to have to do on yourself is going to be how to navigate, how to swim with the trend, how to leverage the movement of the trend to take you to create the result you're looking for. That's where your energy is going to be most useful. And fighting the powers that be or the forces that be, you would drown. You would drown. So let's dissect it. Let's get into it.
Women don't like to understand that there's winners and losers in life.
Women are not supposed to understand that they're women and winners and losers in life. When you ask women to understand, in this context that he's talking about, when you ask women to understand there's winners and losers in life, you're asking her to be overthinking. The idea of femininity goes right out the window. She's now actively masculine because she's smart too. She can see some things that you can't see. And then you start butting heads, right? So the idea that she feels like a winner all the time, if she's in a romantic relationship with you, that's exactly what serves you the most. The moment she starts to feel like, sometimes I could be a loser, after all, it's real life, duty and responsibility. Yeah. Don't forget that it comes with other stuff too. There's downsides to that. You're not going to just cap about that. That comes with certain downsides. Even as men, we want to feel good in our situations, right? We understand that there's winners and losers, right? But when it comes to romantic context, you got to slow down. Now, he can do this for his show because his show is blowing up. He's doing the right thing. He has 700,000 subscribers now. He's doing the right thing when it comes to that, right? But when it comes down to applying this in real life relationships, you absolutely want your woman to feel like a winner all the time. Is she being delusional? Whatever. It's not relevant. She needs to feel good, even if it's not good. Like, let's say you lost your job, right? And you said, I know I'll figure something. I'll get another contract next week. And you said, I'll just leave her out of this. I don't want her to feel like she's at edge, right? I don't want her to panic, right? No. She needs to know that sometimes in life you lose. Well, that's how you lose your family. It's not just your wife. There are people around you. Sometimes the way you paint pictures. Sometimes people need hope. Sometimes people need hope to get to the next stop. It's not every time that you have to run your mouth because you can see further. And that's what I see. That's what I want to be pointing out in this is not to bash these guys because again they have a show and they're running a good show, but it's also to point out the nuances where they could be wrong.
Okay, a man that can't attract women effectively is a loser because of his own inadequacies to a problem. The women are just an end product of his deficiencies.
So if a man that can't attract women comes to me and he say, I'm a loser, I can choose to say, yes, you're a loser. All right, now what? Then what? It depends. If he's talking at me, like let's say he's using this language that Myron is using, right? And he's talking at me and he say, this woman are losers. I'm like, no, you're a loser. You need to clean up. Your balls smell. She can smell. She just said your balls smell. Now, I can see if he's arrogant like that, and I can deflect and say, hey, with respect to where this guy's arrogance is, I can talk to him like that. But if a man says, I'm just a loser, and I notice that it's self-esteem that's worrying him, I'm not going to subscribe to that and say, hey, you're a loser. No. Because the honest truth is that some of us have a certain level of confidence that we bring to the table that's basically above the reality. But that confidence actually rewards us because people reflect that. People actually mimic that. If they see that you're confident, they pay attention to you. Confidence is attractive, it's sexy on both sides. So no, what you're saying sounds good on paper. It's not wrong. You know, you lost. You didn't attract the girl. But there's more nuances behind that in real life when we're dealing with real people.
Women, however, refuse to look at the fact that they're single and don't point the finger back at themselves and say, you know what, maybe I have a problem retaining a guy long term. Maybe I have something wrong with me. No, what do they say? Men are toxic, they're assholes, I'm a queen, I need to be loved regardless if I behave. It is what it is. You take me as I come. What if I was a fucking fat loser, live alone with my mom, smoking pot every day?
But you're the man. What do we do to women when they say, what if, what about you, what about you? We call it whataboutism. Why are you doing that same thing? If you stay in your mama's basement and I'm trying to advise you to get out, yes, you are a loser. She can get away with that. That's the reality. It's the society we live in. Yes, she can. She can get away with calling herself a queen when in reality she's a bum. That's the society we live in. The more you complain about that, if you're not a Myron and you're running the show, the more you complain about that, the more you're going to hurt yourself. Because you don't like the truth. These are just the truth right in front of you and you're having a hard time receiving it. Yes, women get away with stuff like that. They can stay in their father's house until they're 70. You can't do that. Okay? I'm sorry. It's the reality. There are other parts of life, other dimensions of life where you have an upper hand. That's where you should focus on, right?
Oh, fucking king. I deserve a bad bitch. You guys look at me like I'm fucking crazy.
But did I say any of that?
No. That's what I'm trying to.
Because again, the moment you start to explain this to women, they lose you. Even in the midst of you being pragmatic and you're trying to explain everything in details, intellectual diarrhea. In the first sentence, they already lost you because they're asking, who hurt this guy? That's where their mind goes immediately. Why? They're not capable. All that extra you're doing, they can't, like, what are you talking about? Did I say any of that? That's women that we expect to do that. You tell them a little something, they multiply it into a big deal. But men are doing it these days because they're watching platforms like FreshandFit and stuff, right? We need to rise to the occasion.
Say is that your metric of success is not being a boss bitch and being a CEO. Your metric of success is, can you get a boss nigga to hold you down?
Facts.
That's your metric of success.
Yes.
Whether women want to accept it or not, there's a reason why a woman chases a man last name. There's a reason why women want to get married. There's a reason why you want to walk down an aisle in a white dress with your father waiting for you with a man waiting you at the end of the line and your father escorting you. Women.
Let me unmute. I don't disagree with that. The only problem is that you're going to create terrible results when you say that to women. Why? Because they feel less than. You want to make them feel less than whatever, right? And feelings are part of our reality. it doesn't matter how many times you say feelings over fact. It's still the reality. And by the way, when you say that, that's your feelings. Yeah.
Want security. You cannot provide that security by yourself. You can do it artificially with our modern day techniques with, school and everything else like that. But the reality is women want a man and a family.
Every girl thinks about her one day, I'm going to get married.
Don't say every girl. Don't
Okay, not every girl, but
You see that pushback? Don't say every girl, right? As men, we need to be wiser. We need to know not to say every girl because number one, it's not true. It's not reality. We do know it's majority, right? You have to learn how to say some. You have to know how to learn how to say most girls. A typical girl, a typical woman wants that. That's a fact of life, right? But when you say things like every girl, they pick that up because it makes them feel, right? They pick that up quickly. They picked it up more than everything else you said. By the way, they didn't hear anything you said. They heard nothing out of what you said. You just wasted your time, basically. All right.
And these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that.
It's no such thing as high value. It's something that a YouTuber made up. Let's keep it funky. If you go ahead and you Google the definition of high value, you know what I'm saying? It's some YouTube, some quote of YouTuber made popular. And that's not taking nothing away from him, right? Salute. But at the end of the day, we're trying to argue about somebody's perception on what's a high value man. And this is why we're always, look at this nigga over here, goddamn. Go ahead, come off mute so you can scream.
The logic, didn't a lot of stuff that we say now coin from like people or social media?
No, listen what I'm saying. This is why we're having a problem with this whole term. Because this was one man perspective of what?
But it wasn't. It wasn't one man's perspective. And I feel you. It's a lot of YouTube trends and a lot of.
Did you hear ladies start saying they want a high value man?
No, he made it a trend.
All right, so just let's dissect this. First of all, the first thing he said is that I think he said high value if you Google it and stuff like that, right? Let me show you what happens when you Google it. I'm going to use that to make a point. Okay, let me show you what happens when you Google it. Okay, if you Google high value, this is what comes up. Okay, when you scroll down, I didn't even say high value man. I just said high value, right? You see this company here, acponline.org, right? Then you see a bunch of what does high value mean, and if you go here, what to consider as very important, right? Yeah, consider you the perceiver. To consider something or perceive something of high value, right? But when you go down here, what do you see? You see Kevin Samuel's video at the top, that video that I talked about earlier, right? And then you also see a DJ Vlad video with guess who in it? Kevin Samuels, right? And then you also see Real Men, Real Style, how to become a high value man. What this is a YouTube channel that I follow as well. He talks about fashion and stuff like that for men. But why is he doing this? Because this term became popular because of guess who? This guy, right? This is some of the reality we have to learn how to pay attention to men, right? Don't talk to me about reality if you're not valuing emotions and feelings. Your perception of emotions and feelings is the very top of it, because that's all people care about: their emotions and their feelings. If you're not gonna say that, you don't know what value means. You don't know how to interact with human beings. You don't understand power and influence. That's what it tells me. If you say shit like facts over feelings, you don't understand power and influence. Okay? You need to go back to school. All right, good. So that's what we see everywhere. So if you Google it, you literally see this guys. You see is
it's no such.
You see his brand took over everywhere. What is the lesson I'm trying to pull out of that, right? Meanings of words change over time. Stop putting us on this pedestal, meaning, love, meanings are, word meanings are important. That's nonsense. That's complete nonsense. They're just as important as the society that uses it. Any of those words. Any of those words I'm using right now to speak to you can change meanings over time. How do I know? Because we're speaking slangs. That's human beings. We evolve. Where does don't cap come from? Don't cap. So stop capping. Stop capping. Where does that come from? I don't even know where it came from, but I'm using it, right? What is cap rate in real estate? What is capping when it comes to business, right? It changes meanings from one dimension to the other, right? Capitalism. Some people means capitalism. Some people means the actual cap. Meanings of word vary. It changes depending on the context. What matters the most is context. And in this context, this conversation is big because of this one guy. That's just the bottom line. And we can't cap about that. It doesn't matter if you like him or not. Gentlemen, we can't. It doesn't mean you're exonerating him of his flaws. He will deal with this. That's between him and God, right? But the reality is, if somebody makes something popular and everybody's talking about it, you have to pay attention to that. Do women say they want hyper? No, they don't say that. They don't have to say that before you know that women are naturally hypergamy. Hypergamy is not hypergamous rather. It's not always about money. Sometimes it's status, money. Bottom line is that a typical woman, you see, I didn't say all, right? A typical woman enjoys the idea that they can look up to their man. That's the reality. That's not something they decide. A lot of lame people are running around the internet acting like women just want to hurt men by being hypergamy. That's not how that works. It's just socialization. It's just the way it's always been. It's still that way. Maybe 50 years from now it'll be different because of the way we're behaving right now. But right now you're gonna hurt yourself if you think you're gonna resent women if you feel like they just deliberately want to hurt you by taking your money and running. They just want to marry you, take your money, and run. Do they effectively do that sometimes? Yes, because there are circumstances between point A and point B. We're just going to cap. We're not going to talk about that, right? Let's go back to the video.
Thing is high value. It's something that a YouTuber made up.
Everything is made up. Every word I'm saying right now is coming from the 26 alphabets. Everything is made up, bro. But for survival, so we can communicate, so we can take care of our basic human, physical, and emotional needs. So you're not saying anything new.
Let's keep it funky. If you go ahead and you Google the definition of high value, you know what I'm saying? It's some YouTube, some quote of YouTuber made popular. And that's not taking nothing away from him, right?
Well, you just did. You just did. And I just Googled it. You circle back to the same person you're trying to avoid or not give them credit. You don't have to not give them credit or give them credit. You have to learn as a man to say it is what it is. He made it popular. It became a thing. He made it a thing. Guess what? Young girls are saying, are you a high value man? Somebody asked me yesterday, are you an alpha male? I'm like, what is that? But it's a thing. People are talking about it, right?
Salute. But at the end of the day.
Salute, but. Gentlemen, anytime you say something and you say but after that, you negate everything you said before that. Why does it matter? Because it's emotionally charged conversation. You need to be aware of that. Okay? The other person will receive it as you're negating everything you said. You say something, but you say but, you can erase everything you said before that. Yeah. It's like saying I'm sorry, but.
We're trying to argue about somebody's perception on what's a high value man. And this is why we're always. Look at this nigga.
So somebody's perception of a high value man, and he did it so much, and he was able to build 1.4 million subscribers and more people that are following him everywhere, and they're running with it. And clearly, he was hitting a nerve, right? Clearly, somebody is following him, right? So even if you don't agree with it, if you're going to change that, you need to acknowledge it first. Made up is just a YouTube thing. What's a YouTube thing? That's the second biggest website in the world. What do you mean? Just
nigga here, goddamn. Go ahead, come off mute so you can scream.
The logic, didn't a lot of stuff that we say now coin from like people or social media?
No, listen what I'm saying. This is why we having a problem with this whole term, because this was one man. Perspective of.
It's not just one man. It's a man. It's a man with a lot of followers. It's an extremely powerful man by the time he passed away. It's just what it is. And when you have a lot of followers, that's just the reality. That means you can say, and somebody will run with it, and then another person, and it becomes a big thing. You have to pay attention to. You have to acknowledge that first, even if you don't agree with it, in order to change it. If you don't acknowledge it, you're just going to be shooting yourself unless it's swimming against the trend. You would drown yourself, basically.
What?
But it wasn't. It wasn't one man's perspective. And I feel you. It's a lot of YouTube trends and a lot of this, that, and that.
Did you hear ladies start saying they want a high value man?
No, he made it a trend.
And these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that.
Married, and they were closer to 30, if not a little bit over, and they want kids, they want marriage, and I'm just not, even though I might love them at that time, I know I'm too young to know what I want for the rest of my life, and I've had to let go of those relationships, and we're still great friends.
If you're too young to know what you want, then how do you know those guys are not what you want?
Because I know I need to explore more. I need to live my life by myself.
They just made no logical sense.
Okay, look, I have a kid. I used to be like that until I had my kid. Now that I have my kid, like, I might be this, I'm a boss bitch, but deep down in my heart, I would do absolutely anything to be at home and be like always with my child.
There you go.
But unfortunately,
and have a man protecting you. Stop acting like, stop leaving out the man part.
Right.
Because for you to be home with your child, that means you got a man holding him down, protecting you.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, he's right. And that shit's hard. Like, but unfortunately, since I'm by myself, I gotta hustle, Yeah. But I would do anything to have a man like that.
That's what we saying. That's exactly.
Thank you. God bless you. God bless you for telling the fucking truth. God bless you for telling the truth. Talking about Instagram over a real nigga.
You choose Instagram over a man.
Because unfortunately, like, that's a platform where I can make a living off, and nobody's helping me because I don't have that protector yet. You get me?
So you don't think a man could provide and protect for you?
Yeah, but I just haven't found that guy yet. And
that's what we're saying. That's what we saying. Hold on. How come women can't just say, "Listen, I want a man," instead of acting like y'all don't want a man and just want to be boss bitches?
Right.
That's what we're saying.
Nobody said that. That's not
what I said.
Nobody said that. Like y'all said.
I don't want to interrupt.
Nobody said that. Like y'all
she wants to. After you go, she wants to clarify her point.
I just want to clarify because I feel like it's getting
okay,
turned.
Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Put the camera on her.
Who?
You.
Couch girl.
Like y'all said, you're right. And I've been trying to talk, but Myron don't let me. But I really respect Myron.
Because
and
you can't finish your sentence.
Because it's hard for me to explain. But I respect the fuck out of you, and I give you your right because you're right. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
What you're saying is true, and I respect you, and I respect everything that you've done. This whole part, like,
just
I
make
really
your point, please.
The point is that I haven't found the protector because No, I don't know the point already.
Because you want to stay at home with your child. You want a man to take care of everything.
This is why I cut you off.
He can
I
take
know
care
my
of you.
All right, go ahead. Please say what you were going to say.
So what I had said got twisted. I'm not saying that I don't.
All right, so let's talk about this really quickly. Let's make it snappy. So that video that girl that's just Spanish girl that's just crying and saying how much she loves Myron. Some few minutes before that, hold on one second. So some few minutes before that she was being shut down multiple times. Okay, let's just keep it a buck. Let me talk to you really quickly while she was being shut down over and over. Just 1 second, guys. Hold on 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. I'll call you back, okay? All right. All right. Sorry about that, guys. So some few minutes before that point, she was being sorry about that, guys. 1 second. So a few minutes before that, she was being shut down multiple times. She was trying to make a point. She was being shut down by Myron, and that wasn't working. You know, at one point she came and she said, "Hey, you know, I want to make a last point. I want to make say something positive." She said, "I want to say something positive because I'm about to leave, right?" And as she was about to start talking, Myron said, "No, just leave," right? This is a problem of a person that doesn't know how to read a room, right? For me personally, where I'm at right now, there's certain rooms I don't go to, you know, I just don't go there. Or if I'm there, I find myself there by mistake, I relax. I just take my time to see if there's I take my time to listen, to see if there's any point. My radars are heightened, you know, to see if there's any opportunity to add value. But I'm doing at the same time I'm reading the room, and this chick is one of those chicks that just didn't know how to read a room. That's just what it was. She didn't know how to read a room. Let me see if I can show her face again so you can see what we're talking about. Yeah, this chick right here. All right. So then eventually, what happens is after she got shut down a few times, she now actively continued to pander to Myron. You know, this is what I say about you have to be careful with pygmies, right? You have to do better vetting, even better vetting. You have to do vetting, period. Like, you have to do with them, because a woman is a woman, you know, a typical woman is a woman. You should just do vetting. But people that tend to pander to your talking point, you even have to do, because then naturally that hides the true persons, right? So it's very important. So eventually, after she got shut down, see, rejection breeds obsession. That's the reality. That's the lesson that I want you to get out of this. Rejection breeds obsession. This is true for every single one of us, right? Some people say, but if you reject me, I reject you too. That's still an obsession. The very fact that you need to have so much energy to making a point that you reject me too, that's the obsession. Or you could go the other direction, fight or flight, which is basically you're trying to get me to like you, right? And that's what's going on here. So I wanted to tell you the backstory so you can see where the crying is coming from, right? The crying is not coming from suddenly. This is a girl that actually said she got a BBL for herself, because there was a conversation earlier about BBLs, and she said, I got it for myself, not for my man, and she was trying to push back. But once she noticed that she wasn't given that same, she wasn't being paid attention to, then she started to obsess about the idea that, you know, she's trying to get Myron to like her. It's a natural human behavior. She's not necessarily wrong. She doesn't know any better, right? And that's where the crying is coming from. What do you think she's going to, when she sees this later on, right? Because obviously I clipped this. I'm talking about it right now. It's a lesson, right? If she sees this later on, she's still going to hate herself, resent herself, or even putting herself in this position to cry, because it's not authentic. It's not real. She was just caught up in that moment where she, you know, she felt like, I need this guy to like me. She would, like 45 minutes before this point, she had wanted to leave, but then she didn't leave. She wanted to, you know, if she read the room, she would know that this is not the environment where I need to say, hey, I need to speak something positive. Nobody cares about your positive stuff, not on this podcast. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only, toxic energy only. Okay, and if you come there, you bring some smoke, become a, what do you call it, francazo, right? That's what they want. You get some viral views and you go viral too, and then you build your Instagram. That's the reality. But you know, the reality is also humans are humans. You will see what you see right now. No matter how much we try to cap, we're still humans at the end of the day, and that's what we're looking at right now. So let me play that for you again.
They were closer to 30, if not a little bit over, and they want
so this
kids.
chick that's talking, she's actually extremely smart. Extremely smart. She held her own. She was able to maintain the conversation, even though many times they try to shut her down. You don't know what you're doing. You sound dumb. They play the effect, whatever, right? She held her own, and it's a second time back there. It looks like she's getting a certain kick from coming there, and you know she enjoys the smoke. Some people will see that and say, I like her. She's very smart. Well, she's going to bring you that same smoke too when you end up in a romantic relationship. Doesn't mean it will never work out. No, it doesn't mean that. You just have to be aware. Whatever you're asking for, be aware that there's downside to it, there's upside to it. Okay? So if you're looking for an extremely smart woman who will argue with you all the time because she's so smart, she actually sees beyond you in terms of A plus EMC squared plus 3 plus that, right? Just understand that you're going to be on the receiving end of that sometimes. And sometimes you just want her to be feminine and not see, like, why is everything mathematics for you, right? But that's the reality about life. What attracts us is sometimes what we end up resenting the most. Just be aware. Half the battle is won.
Want marriage, and I'm just not, even though I might love them at that time, I know I'm too young to know what I want for the rest of my life, and I've had to let go of those relationships, and we're so great friends.
If you're too young to know what you want, then
so if you notice, that chick is still lying down there. She's kind of frustrated at this point because she felt like she was being shut down by Maron so many times, right?
how do you know those guys are not what you want?
Because I know I need to explore more. I need to live my life by myself.
She's 2021. If a little girl 2021 19 says she needs to explore more, it is what it is, right? We know that there's nothing out there on the streets for anyone. Sometimes you have to let people do what they have to do though. Oh, I get it. The community is getting more worse, right? Well, you still have to bring it down to individuals. Work package by package, unit package by package. That's what builds up the community. Yeah, if you try to fix everything from the top, you're gonna hurt yourself. You can't. You're not capable of doing that. Individuals, you as a person, from person to person, what kind of power and influence do you have over them to create the result you're looking for? That's where the attention needs to be going. Fixing everything from macro will always work against you.
They just made no logical sense.
Okay, look, I have a kid. I used to be like that.
So she's a single mother, and now she thinks she used to be like this other chick. She may be correct, right? But let's keep
until I had my kid. Now that I have my kid, like I might be this, I'm a boss bitch, but deep down in my heart, I would do absolutely anything to be at home and be like always with my child.
There you go.
But unfortunately,
and have a man protect you. Stop acting like stop leaving out the man part.
Right.
Because for you to be home with your child, that means you got a man holding you down, protecting you.
And that's what I'm saying. Like he's right, and that shit's hard. Like
I was muted just now. You see what she just said? She said he's right. I've always said it. Myron is always right. Kevin Samuels was always right. Majority of the people in the manosphere space are always right. The problem with this issue is that being right is the bare minimum. That's not what it takes to build relationships. Okay? If you're right, congratulations to you. If you have the data, stats, whatever, statistics, congratulations to you. But that's not what it takes to build successful relationships. She missed the whole point, but they're hitting a nerve. Like they're hitting a lot of nerves. That's why they're building this followership. A lot of women are going through this pain. Like, obviously, single motherhood is hard. So if you tell a bunch of people that it's hard, buy a dog, you're going to die alone. Of course. You're going to be a lot of followership, even if they hate you. They want to come because toxic, they just want to, they feel that toxic. They're not high on it. They come back for it and stuff like that. It doesn't mean you're not saying what is right. You're right, but you're not necessarily creating the right impression. You're not necessarily creating the results we're looking for in terms of relationship, in terms of building society, the families. You're not necessarily doing that. The reason why we were able to do that in the past is because men knew their place. Men knew they were kings. They were not competing with women. That right there is a big part of this conversation that we're not yet having. And anytime we try to have it, because Kevin Samuels tried to have it, they didn't like that truth. So he gravitated towards talking to women because women buys everything, even if it's going to hurt them. Right? So she said he's right. Yes, I agree, he's right. But what's going to happen tomorrow when she watches this video? Is the question. Is she going to resent herself? Why is she reacting this way? Why is she obsessed with this guy liking him? It's rejection. Rejection breeds obsession.
At least since I'm by myself, I gotta hustle, you know. But I would do anything to have a man like.
That's what we saying. That's exactly.
Thank you. God bless you. God bless you for telling the fucking truth. God bless you for telling the truth. Talking about Instagram over a real nigga.
You did choose Instagram over a man.
Yeah. So she did say something about she'll pick Instagram over a man. But now, somehow, because she's pandering right now, they think she's telling the truth. Right? I always tell people, listen, this whole thing that we call truth is basically a function of your filter. Okay? Why are you enjoying this so much? How come you can't see past this girl? This girl is not in no place to be able to tell no truth. Instead, I'm seeing truth. She's not telling truth. I can see the truth though. She's broken. Right? She's looking for validation. We all like validation, but that can become a toxic thing too.
Because unfortunately, like, that's a platform where I can make a living off and nobody's helping me because I don't have that protect.
Nobody's helping me. You got family? What kind of value are you bringing? That's a different conversation entirely, right?
Yeah, you get me?
So you don't think a man could provide and protect you?
Yeah, but I just haven't found that guy yet. And
That's what we're saying. That's what we saying. Hold on. How come women can't just say, listen, I want a man instead of acting like y'all don't want a man and just want to be boss bitches?
Right.
That's what we're saying.
We've just been.
That's not what I said.
Nobody said that.
Like
y'all
you guys
said,
are done, I don't want to interrupt.
Nobody said that. Like y'all
She wants
said,
to after you go. She wants to clarify her point.
I just want to clarify because I feel like it's getting
okay,
turned.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh.
Sorry, go ahead.
Put the camera on her.
Who?
You.
Couch girl.
Like y'all said, you're right. And I've been trying to talk, but Myron don't let me. But I really respect Myron.
Because
And
you
I've
can't
been
finish your sentence.
because I
obsessed with Myron.
but I respect the.
Myron didn't like him because she was interjecting, and she would just run. She couldn't read the room, and Myron gets irritated by, especially the BBL stuff. She will pick an Instagram over a man, all this kind of stuff, rhetoric. She wanted to leave. Myron didn't like him because Myron don't like people like that. It's obvious if what's the show enough, right? But now the rejection is creating obsession. That's real. That's real life. It happens all the time.
Fuck out of you, and I give you your right because you're right. That is true. What you're saying.
She said, "I gave you your right because you're right." That is true. That sounds so much like pandering. It's ridiculous.
Is true, and I respect you, and I respect everything that you've done. This whole part, like,
just make your point, please.
She's saying a bunch of nothing.
The point is that
Guess what? The point is what? Let's find out what the point is.
I haven't found the protector because I don't know the point already.
I don't know the point already. I don't know the point already.
And these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that.
That's fucked up. You know what? Let's change the rules.
Oh my God.
I can't change it. Women are attracted to what they're attracted to. Men are attracted to what they're
I'm
attracted
not going
to.
to tell a guy that if he's 5'2", he's fucking, he's never going to find
Oh no, you gotta tell him the truth.
You gotta tell him the truth.
He's gonna.
That's not true.
He is.
You're
No,
just
literally he is.
But what if he has, what if he has $1 million?
He's not
Now,
fucked, but
wait,
he has to
but what
try
if- what if he
harder.
has-
Yeah,
what if he
yeah,
has
yeah.
$1 million?
See, this is the difference between
Yeah.
men and women. This
Yeah.
you guys just saw that what just happened just there?
I saw, yeah.
See, women will lie to each other to make each other feel better, whereas men have to tell each other the painful truth. If I meet a guy and he's 5'2", I'm gonna tell him straight to his face,
Jim,
you're fucked. You need to go to the gym. You need to make money.
Make money.
You must get yourself to a certain point because you have a huge deficiency against you.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're over here. Oh, you're ugly? Damn. Okay, you know what? Just be a boss bitch and boss up. That's the worst advice you.
All right, let's talk about this real quickly. So he's all types of wrong on this one. Very wrong, as a matter of fact, right? It's very wrong, right? Again, we have way too many people throwing the word truth around just because they're talking about their belief system. Your belief system is not necessarily a truth. That's your truth. That's your version of truth. And that's okay. But when you start to project and push it down people's throat, that's why you're creating terrible results. Because at the end of the day, the real truth is a function of time and your results. Okay? Time, patience, like it's a process, right? Truth is just not going to become truth because you said it. Just because you call something the truth or fact doesn't make it any of those two things. Okay? While those two things are actually different. Sometimes you say it's truth, sometimes you say facts, right? You tend to talk like that, right? And this is one of them. Myron is one of them, right? So just pay attention to what he's doing here. He's saying a lot of, oh, it's just the truth, or he's going to tell you the truth, or the men were just going to tell you the truth. No, actually, it's direct opposite of it. Men lie, literally, okay? Not because they're doing it deliberately, because again, we all put on this filter. We all have this thing on that create this shade, right? And that's why it ends up being false. You create a result that doesn't correlate with what you consider truth. And effectively, you're not happy with the result you created because, for obvious reason, the result is the reality. Reality is the truth. Reality has emotions and feelings and is a function of time. With time, we'll be able to tell the actual truth. What is going on right now that we can see is not even the truth. We have to wait a little bit longer. At the end of life, we can see what the real truth is. That's the extreme of it. So maybe you can slow down a little bit on the truth thing. I'm true, I'm just telling you nonsense, cap, right? So let's dissect it.
That's fucked up. You know what? Let's change the rules.
Oh my God.
I can't change it. Women are attracted to what they're attracted to. Men are attracted to what they're
I'm
attracted
not
to.
going to tell a guy that if he's 5'2", he's fucking, he's never going to find
Oh no, you gotta tell him the truth.
You gotta tell him the truth.
She says she's not going to tell a guy. You said, no, you got to tell. She's not wanting to tell the truth. She's not capable of telling that, whatever that truth is. First of all, it's not necessarily truth. That is a loser. Second of all, she's not comfortable because her truth does not correlate with what you're saying. She's not comfortable saying that to another person. For what purpose? To make him feel less, to make him feel terrible? She already feels terrible herself that she's going to have to decline any type of relationship, intersexual relationship with this person, but she should just go ahead and tell her the truth. Why? Because you want her to become a man. The worst thing you can tell a man or woman is for her to become a man or to act like men, because in that same breath, you were just saying men what they want and women what they want. That's fact of life, right? But then you're not turning around and saying, "Oh, you got to tell them the truth." That's contradicting each other. You get the point?
He's gonna
That's so true.
He is.
You're just literally is. But what if he has $1 million?
He's not
Now,
fucked,
wait,
but he has to
but
try
what if he
harder.
has $1 million?
See, this is the.
Did you hear that, Mr.
difference between men and women. You guys just saw that what just happened just there?
I saw, yeah.
See, women will lie to each other to make each other feel better, whereas men have to tell each
Thank you for that. Oh Lord, I've been making this mistake because again I'm coughing. I'm under the cold, so sometimes I stay on the side mute and then I cough and then I don't, and then I forget to unmute. But thank you for that. Shout out to you, Bomb First. Thank you. All right, so do women just come out and outrightly lie? See, when you interpret life events in a certain way, you react in a certain way. If you think women are just out here just lying, it's only natural for you to bark at women and think they're delusional and all those different negative things, right? It's only natural for you to feel that way, right? Rightfully so. But if you start to understand that women are not necessarily lying, they can have a different version of the events of life. That's just the way they're set up. Like even you and I, right? The way we see things is different from individual to individual, right? Even if we follow the same principles, even the same religion, the same guru, right? How we see things will be different. How much more when we generalize from a man to a woman, right? So women tend to paint pictures or they see things. They can create movies in their head, right? 200 movies in a day. Because when you tell them one thing, they can see all kind of difference in it. When you tell us one thing as men, we see that as one thing, right? So of course, naturally, they are. It will seem like they're just lying to themselves. It's because again, they need to see things in the best light. If we're generalizing, right? They need to see things. So they're not just gonna walk up to people and tell them something that will make them feel less or make them feel like they're making somebody feel less. That's two layers. If a woman is going to tell you something that will make her feel like you're making you feel less, she's not going to do it because they tend to nurture their nurturers, right? But when you actively asking women to become men, that's one of the biggest problems that we have right now.
to the painful truth. If I meet a guy and he's 5'2", I'm gonna tell him straight to his face, you're fucked. You need to go to the gym. You need my money. You must get yourself to.
And that's okay if that's your coaching style. You can't be asking women to do that. They never agree to doing that for the most part. They won't. Some of them will sit behind the computer and say, I agree. We just tell people the truth. It's just honesty, right? No. Brutal honesty. People hear the brutality, not the honesty. That's just the reality. Can you be honest? Yes. But you can't have expectations around the fact that you're honest. Because your honesty could be received as a lie when people feel differently inside. You need to be aware of that. Right? That's just the reality. Now, that's reality. Because people only care about their feelings. I'm sorry.
To a certain point because you have a huge deficiency against you.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're over here. Oh, you're ugly? Damn. Okay, you know what? Just be a boss bitch and boss up. That's the worst advice you.
Yeah. So again, distorted all over the place. Obviously hitting a nerve. They're blowing up. But I'm just gonna leave it at that for today. I think we've had a good time. You know, go back, hit the like, subscribe button, all those good things. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Hopefully, you've been enlightened, okay, educated, entertained a little bit. This was a long one, you know, but again, I'm under the weather. So thank you for stopping by. Please hit the like button, subscribe, share it with your friends. We're having this conversation. We will continue to have the conversation. We're going to figure this out. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'll see you on the next one, and peace.